Well, good evening and welcome everyone to tonight's Balanced Life, Happy Life. I am not Jeff Isom, who is your usual host. I am pitch hitting for him, but I will be the presenter. My name is Michael DiMuccio. I have been a long-standing consultant with Nikken. Actually, this month I'll be celebrating 34 years. Wow. 34 years sharing and telling people what an amazing opportunity was, what an amazing story we have, what an amazing technology and product line. And it's just getting better. This year has been an incredible transitional year as Nikken has really invested a lot of energy, time, resources in bringing Nikken into a place where we can legitimately claim that 2026 is going to be the launch of a 5-year campaign to 10x Nikken. And so you're hearing about this at an incredible time. I'm just going to go dive right into this presentation, and I hope those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Welcome. This presentation's actually been designed to give you sort of a 50,000-foot overview of Nikken and help you better appreciate what's really on the table, what's being offered. We call it empowered living because that's what this is all about. We feel that we found a better way through Nikken to have a life that's empowered. And, when you consider how most people live, they're not necessarily living to the fullest. Here's an example of someone I consider living to their fullest. When you can wear your heart on your sleeve and when you can belt it out with purpose and passion, that's a person that's living an empowered life. I love this image, but that's not what it looks like for most people. When you look at people, I mean, especially this time of the year, the stress levels are just over the top. People don't look all that happy. They look preoccupied. They look very stressed. And there's many reasons for that. And we can see a list here: financial worries, health concerns, lack of time, unhealthy lifestyle, too many demands. I'm sure most people feel that's true. A failure to take time out to relax, family responsibilities, workplace conflict, inability to just accept things as they are. And stress is stress, no matter where it comes from. It plays a role in how empowered our life is, or for that matter, disempowered. So as we go through this presentation, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to consider two areas of your life that you would like to see radical improvement in 2026. And we see a list here: body, mind, family, society, finances. If these were areas of health and concern, select two areas. And here's how you can help me on this call. There's a chat button. What I'd like to do is I'd like to ask you to chime in just by writing which single one is your top priority. Which of these 5 pillars will be your top priority, the area that you would like to most see improvement on in 2026? Go ahead and start listing them, and I'll just read them out as I'm seeing them. So let's see. We've got finances, 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 finances. Okay, I think we're kind of getting the picture here that, oh, there's one for health. Okay, mind, body. Okay, there's 2 for body. So 3 for body. So essentially the top 2, as you can see from the viewers, is mind and finances, finances being number 1. Well, that's not really a surprise, is it? Isn't finances for most people the number 1 source of stress? And wouldn't they like to fix that? Well, a number of years ago, as I mentioned earlier, almost 34 years ago this month, I was introduced to a whole new way of thinking, and it subsequently led me to a whole new life, starting with what was shared with me in terms of a definition for success. So many of us are pursuing what we think is the ladder to success, but oftentimes that ladder is leaning against the wrong building. And what I was introduced to was a concept, a philosophy, that if I was in the pursuit of balance in these 5 key principles: mind, body, family, society, finances, if I was in the pursuit of improving on those on a daily basis, then I was actually on the road to success. In fact, I was by definition a success for being in that pursuit. Let's have a look at this video.
Have you ever felt like you just didn't feel well some days? Like everything's overwhelming? We often live on autopilot, unaware that with simple, small daily actions we can achieve significant change. Because feeling good every day is possible. When you actively take control of your choices and actions and solve your daily challenges, you become empowered. Nikken is the platform that promotes personal growth, prosperity, and positive impact on people. By doing so, you increase your vitality and connection with the world around you. Enter the positive cycle. Empowering your life gives you the tools and philosophy to make the choice that makes you feel good. And the better you feel, the more inspired you are to continue growing. Achieving this isn't magic. They're small, simple, powerful, and transformative daily actions based on the balance of the 5 essential principles: strengthen your mindset, boost your vitality, strengthen your relationships, contribute to society, diversify your finances. Because when you empower your life, you don't just transform yourself, you transform your world. Empower your life and feel good every day.
I love that video. That really helps us understand conceptually what Nikken's really all about. If you're somebody who's been seeking a life of empowerment, or if you've just arrived at that moment in time where you're really looking to make a significant change for the better, one that gives you a sense of purpose and fulfillment, then certainly there's an option here for you as you look at these 5 areas where we can improve our life: enhancing our mindset, boosting vitality, strengthening our relationships, making a contribution and serving others. That's the part that I've found the most rewarding over the last 34 years. And diversifying your income sources that can help alleviate our number one source of stress. So that's what Nikken is all about. It's a way to feel good every day by offering you choices. And an empowered life is about moving forward on a daily basis, daily actions. And if we look at this concept of the compound effect, I think it was Einstein who said one of the miracles of the world, one of the greatest things was compounding, the effects of compounding. What we don't appreciate often is how did we get here? It wasn't just overnight. It's a series of things that's happened over a period of time. It's often the habits that we create from how we were raised or whatever we were influenced by. Those small choices over a period of time add up to a habit, and that habit leads to an outcome. And whether we're talking about income, health, relationships, happiness, your definition of success, just a small change in the choices that we make, again, with consistency and time, can actually create a radical difference. And it doesn't have to take a long, long time. The first 27 months of my experience with Nikken was so life-changing. I went from being someone of obscurity to someone who was able to generate the most income my family had ever seen. So it can be transformational on many levels just by making small choices with some consistency and time. And that's really what we're talking about. Here's a great example, a very sobering one if you look at this. To the left, we have the North American statistics. To the right, we have the statistics in Japan concerning our approach to health. Well, whatever it is, our approach to health, we in Canada, where I'm from, rank 34 in World Health. USA, number 68. Japan, where Nikken originates, is number 1 in the world. Longevity, they outlive us quite a bit. We average 76.5 years. They average 84.3 years. Talk about health and longevity. They've got it going on. And yet, when you look at the amount of money that's thrown at this in North America, we spend 3 times more money than they do and get much, much poorer results. We look at obesity, a big factor in health and well-being. Again, Japan, 10% of the obesity rates that we have here in North America. So what is the big difference? We're on the same planet, and the difference is how we approach health. In the West, it's through sick care. First, you got to get sick, then we try and fix you. In the East, in Japan, it's self-care. the idea of prevention. In fact, 90 cents of every dollar they invest in the prevention of illness and disease. We, on the other hand, spend only 10% in prevention, 90% in intervention, and clearly the results speak for themselves. We know what the answer is concerning health. We've got to be healthy by choice and not by chance, because chances are you're not going to be healthy if you go in the direction that you were raised in the West. We need to look at a different approach. That's our empowered living approach, by choosing daily actions and activities that lead us where we really want to go. So let's focus on the first part of the two that were highlighted in our conversation earlier. We're going to look at empowered living through boosting your vitality.
Do you feel low on energy? Do you have trouble getting up in the morning, concentrating, or just enjoying life? A sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, constant stress, and excessive use of devices have disconnected us from our natural vitality. What if you could change that? What if you could awaken your natural energy and live with a vitality that allows you to enjoy every moment to the fullest? Vitality doesn't require extraordinary feats. It's built through the small choices you make every day. Boost your vitality and empower your life with Nikken. At Nikken, we draw inspiration from nature to reconnect you with your vital energy. Boosting your vitality starts with smart hydration. It's not just about drinking water. It's about giving your body quality water. Continue with mindful nutrition by choosing foods that give you real energy, complemented with nutrients that strengthen you properly. Enjoy the sunlight and activate the body by performing natural movements throughout the day, such as walking and dancing. And with restful sleep, which is essential to repair our body and mind and ensure renewed energy for the next day, these actions build an empowered life. Because when you boost your vitality, you don't just transform your energy, you transform your world. Empower your life and feel good every day.
So there you have it, some simple ideas. Nikken's Nikken's technology allows us to reconnect with nature. In some circles, they call this biomimicry, where you're using technology in order to replicate nature or put nature's lessons to practice. And that's exactly what Nikken's been doing for quite a long time, almost 50 years now, or actually 50 plus years now. So how do you connect with nature? In Nikken, we have a very, very unique approach to total wellness. There's a lot of great wellness technologies and wellness companies out there, but they don't necessarily specialize in a total wellness approach. Nikken looks at the most important issues that affect our health and vitality, hydration being perhaps one of the most important, but the single most important is actually restful sleep. They tell us that the number one factor that impacts health and longevity the most, including over exercise and nutrition, is sleep. And so if you look at Nikken's line of technologies, from smart hydration, fresh air, restful sleep, smart nutrition, near skin, less stress, vital energy, and we're talking about energy of the earth, sun, and air technologies, that creates an environment that's going to give your body the perfect circumstances necessary for it to recover, to recuperate. And that's why the healthy approach, as in the Japanese, is to provide and nourish the body what it actually needs and finds in nature. And so bringing us back to nature is really what Nikken's all about. Now, I can talk on and on about the products, and if you'd like to discover more about the Nikken products, there is in fact a call tomorrow that will discover the product. We call it Brand Night, and I'll tell a little bit more about that after. But please ask the person who invited you here to share the products with you. For tonight, for time's sake, we're just going to actually ask a few people who are on the call. So if I may ask some people who are on the call to jump out and volunteer a story of your experience with Nikken products for the benefit of those listening for the first time. Please. Who can I ask?
Paul Gabios.
Hello, Paul.
Hi, Mike.
Paul, tell us where you're coming from.
Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada.
Welcome back. So tell us about your product experience.
My product experience would have to be with the sleep system. I came into Nikken 24 years ago, not sleeping well and having some problems with my back. And within, a few days on the sleep system, there was like a 100% change in those two aspects of my life. So I said to myself, I'm not the only one who's dealing with these issues. There's a business here. And so that foundational product just propelled me to the rank of platinum that we talk about. And so I'm a university professor still at 73. I mean, I'm now in a position to be looking for people who, because of this foundational product and other products that we have, and because of the system that we use in the business, I'm looking for people who would like to take their annual income, whatever it might be, and change that annual income to a monthly income.
Wow,
And that's my story.
fantastic. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Connie, let's hear from you.
Okay, hi. This is actually a story, testimonial from a someone I shared the product with. This woman shared the fact that she was chairman of a large art show in Easton, Maryland, and for 12 years, and had suffered with sore feet and legs tired and lack of energy after this 3 day event. And I said, well, you might want to try these insoles, Nikken's first product. And very simple. You simply slip them in your shoes and wear them all day and let me know. So she wrote back a text and said she was amazed. She said normally after the first 2 days of being on her feet all day and helping artists display their artwork and so forth, that she could barely move. And so she said with the insole, she had energy and energy to spare. And she ended it by saying, I'm a convert. And that made me very happy. I think we're happiest when we share these products, and we all have had our own experiences, but when you share them with others and get their feedback, wow, that's very impactful.
I'm glad you said that because that was really what happened to me. It was actually in my second week where I had shared these products with an elderly gentleman. He was in his 70s. It was a very prominent businessman here in Toronto. And he invited me into his home because I was bringing over some materials for him to help him. And he sat me down and he looked at me and he says, Michael, I haven't been able to sleep on the sleep system. And I was concerned. I thought, oh my God, what's wrong? He said, oh, no, no, not that. He says, every time I get my sleep pad, I share it with a friend and they won't give it back to me. So finally, I ordered three and I finally got to sleep on the sleep pad the last 2 nights. And he looked at me deadpan in my eyes and said, I feel 20 years younger. And my heart stopped. I mean, my eyes welled up and I was like, oh my God, I had no idea that this was how profound a product experience I was going to start to see as a business. It was just so emotional and moving. I can totally relate to that. One more. Can we have one more? Come on, you're out there. Vivian and Paula. We'll do both of you and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Vivian.
Okay. Um, so many years ago, I got diagnosed with diabetes. It was something that runs through the family. And as you move through the disease, um, things start to change with the body. And where I started to notice a lot of issues was with my feet. And I had so much discomfort with the feet. It was unbelievable. And I started putting the insoles in my slippers So if I'm walking around during the day, I'm on the insoles all day. I have other insoles now that go into my shoes. So when I go out, I'm still on the insoles. I've had no discomfort during the day, right through up until the time I go to bed. Then I come off the insoles, and then some of the discomfort comes back. So I tried putting them in socks so I can keep them on my feet. Doesn't quite work when your feet are tucked in under the covers. So my next thought is maybe I need to Velcro them to the bottom of my feet to keep them on so that I can continue with that feeling of greatness, and not have to deal with all the discomfort that comes with experiencing diabetes. And it's funny because I went and saw my GP not that long ago, and she goes, "Oh, how's things going? How's your sugars? All this sort of stuff." And so I was telling her, and she goes, "How's your feet?" And I said, "Well, I've had a lot of discomfort with my feet, but I said, I just was bound and determined I'm wearing these insoles all the time." And she goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yep, in my slippers, in my shoes. I just have to figure out how to wear them to bed." And she was actually really impressed because she was the one that actually introduced me to Nikken back in 2001.
Wow.
And she doesn't do Nikken anymore, but she said, "Oh, are they still those really firm, bumpy ones?" And I go, "No." So I took my shoe off and I handed her the insole and I said, "This is the new one." And she looked at it and she goes, "Oh, I'm really impressed. I have to start looking at this to recommend to some of my patients." So, um,
Well, keep that in mind because I hear through the grapevine that Nikken is going to be introducing a program in the not too distant future that she may actually be quite interested in.
oh, well, I will do that. But
Okay.
anyway, if anybody has any bright ideas as to how I can keep them on my feet when I go to bed.
That's for another call. Thanks for that.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Paula.
You know, it's wonderful that our products have influenced a lot of people and have made a profound impact on their health. But one of the products that Nikken has actually saved my life, and it was the air system. And one night I was sleeping, it was around midnight, and all of a sudden my air system goes into full blast mode, and I'm thinking, what the heck? And I opened the door to my bedroom and I could hear the smoke detector in the basement going off. And I immediately woke my husband and said, "We have to get out of here." And we met on the sidewalk with nothing on but our robes. And the fire marshal came in, assessed the damage, and he said, had you been in the house 90 seconds longer, you would have perished. So, it wasn't the smoke detector that woke me up, it was the sound of the fan going into full blast mode, cleaning the air before I even knew there was a problem with the air.
Wow. Amazing. Yes, so there's another aspect of Nikken technology in terms of prevention. That's a real prevention story. Thank God for that. All right, well, let's get back to the presentation because one of the big deals was obviously finances. One of the reasons why people are so stressed is finances. Now, when you have a product line like Nikken's product line, certainly this can turn into something more than just about the products, sharing it with people. You heard some reasons why just sharing it alone is a feel-good experience. Here are some of the categories that we have that are formed in the way of a pack. There's a discount offered for purchasing these packs. The water pack, the energy pack, the sleep pack. I like to say one pack is good, two is better, three is best. Definitely a nice way to introduce Nikken technology in categories. There's obviously no requirement. If you want to just simply be a customer, ask the person who invited you to share their website link with you and go shopping. And now's a good time to shop for so many reasons, especially if you're shopping for others, the gift of wellness. There is no better gift. However, if you're the kind of person who likes to share, like you heard so many of the people on the call here, you might want to upgrade that account and become a consultant, an Nikken consultant, for it's like $39.95 US. And there's another option, and that's the one that I chose. It was to participate in helping a large community of people learn about Nikken, and that's where the fun really gets going. So if you're looking to diversify your income, diversifying your income could be as simple as enrolling as a Nikken consultant and beginning to share your experience. Let's talk about this for a second. Why is it that finances are such a problem? Let me give me 1 second while I pin this. Yeah, there we go. Why are finances such a big problem for so many people? It's because of the way we have been taught to earn money. This is from Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling business author, and I'm sure you've heard of his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He explains to us that really there's four ways we generate income. You're either an employee, which means you have a job, you work for somebody, and the amount of work determines your income. You're trading time for money. Other option is you progress to being self-employed, in which case you created your own job. And in this case, again, still no leverage, and the amount of active work determines your income. So again, you're trading time for money. And this trading time for money scenario is 95% of the population. Hence, 95% of the population treat finances as a problem, because it is a problem. When your income is determined by the amount of time you have available to earn it, then you can't necessarily grow it in proportion to whatever lifestyle needs you might have or changes you want to make. Only 5% of the population, or 95% of the population, actually earn 5% of the money that's being earned. Wow. So where's the other 95% of the money being earned? It's being earned by 5% of the population who live on the other side of the equation. What's the other side? It's where you learn to add value independent of time. Well, how do you do that? Build a business. When you can build a business that operates on its own, leveraging a system, for instance, such as a franchise model, or you have money sufficient to invest in businesses where you're not actually managing or running those businesses are performing, creating value, and you're now adding value to society and earning an income from that. And you can create any number of sources of income if you're doing that, because it's independent of time. So here is an opportunity to now transition from the left side to the right side through a vehicle like Nikken. Nikken is set up and structured in such a way that a person can continue to operate as an employee or as a self-employed person. As you heard, one person was still employed as a professor, but they could also build income and multiple streams of income leveraging the Nikken platform. And that's what makes the Nikken opportunity available and accessible to anyone. Whether you want to just earn a few extra $100 by sharing these products, that's our retail model, and you can earn up to 30% of the sale price of an item, which is a pretty good profit margin. And the small business model is maybe you want to introduce a few people, get some help, build a small team. And in doing that, you're earning a second income to the lifestyle that you have, and you can earn up to 40% from the efforts of others on their activity. So now you have engaged the ability to earn an income with multiplication. But the most powerful form of income option that we have is the network marketing option. It's the one that I focused on exclusively in my 34 years. Why? Because this is about showing people how to take advantage of the system. And by doing so, they can become self-sufficient and do the same for others, which creates a multiplier that goes on and on. And in this case, we can earn 6% up to 6 generations of on and on, building out a community of people. And that could spread in more places than one. I started out in Toronto, but before the month was over, I already had people in the United States. Today, it's in 12 countries. So, and some of these countries I actually haven't even been to, yet there are people in my organization who are there. And so this is a wonderful way to experience income when your income is about impact and not limited to the amount of time that you have available. Here's another example. We know that an apple is something that's delicious to eat, but how many apples would exist in the world today if there were no seeds in the apple? None. It's the seeds in the apple that we don't eat, but we plant, that allows us to create more apples. And we pretty much know about how many seeds there are in an apple. We just don't know how many apples there are in a seed. So every time you introduce Nikken to someone, that person could be not just an apple, that person could be the seed of an orchard and create more apples. And as that happens and grows in abundance, so does your influence, so does your impact, so does your income. And it looks something like this. That's you at the top there in the left in your Nikken Wellness Home, experiencing your Nikken experience and sharing with people. As you share, you assemble and accumulate customers who love the products and shop from your shopping cart. But you'll also find partners, people who see the wisdom of this. Maybe you invited them to this presentation or to one like it, and they learn about Nikken as an income option and they say, I'd like to do that. And now they're in the business of doing what you're doing, sharing, finding customers of their own and partners of their own. And so that's how this starts to fan out. So and so tells so and so, who tells so and so, who tells so and so. You ever see that commercial that they multiply? That's exactly what happens. As people start to share, it starts to multiply generationally. Each one of those circles represents a generation, like so and so begat so and so, who begat so and so, who begat so and so. We call that a genealogy, just like in the family tree. Now imagine earning 6% up to 6 generations of people in your genealogy as that continues to grow. And these are people who are using the products and sharing the products with other people. That's going to create multiple sources of income. Every one of those people is a source of income, and there's no limit. How is this all possible? The magic of technology. Again, one of the things that we were talking about was how Nikken has invested quite a bit of energy and time and money in building a platform. Well, what made Amazon the #1 retailer in the world? A platform. They created a platform that empowered people to become entrepreneurs on their platform, thereby multiplying their reach and their volume of business. What made Uber the #1 taxi company in the world, in spite of the fact that they don't even have a taxi? They don't own a taxi. They empowered people who were looking for a way to make extra income by turning their car into a cash flow engine where they could get in their car and start driving and earning an income using the Uber app, and Uber would connect them to the consumer. But can you imagine if Uber said to you, not only will I pay you on the drives that you make, I will pay you on the drives that the people you introduce to Uber make. In fact, I won't stop there. I'll pay you on the rides that those people who shared to those people who shared to the next generation, up to 6 generations. Imagine Uber was paying you up to 6 generations of people who were introduced to being an Uber driver to make some extra money on the side. And that would be quite the opportunity. Of course, it's not the way it is, but that is the way it is with Nikken. Nikken offers us the ability to multiply our experience. And you can do it anywhere. Nikken is online. If you have a phone, you have a computer, you're in business. For $39.95, you enroll as a Nikken consultant, and now you have the suite of tools to share Nikken online. In fact, your personal web page is a beautiful page that's put together that you don't have to invest any time or money in creating. It's already there. And you have access to a back office that enables you with business tools to expand the communications to your team as you grow. So here's the simplicity of it. Join Nikken. Share and promote the products and the opportunity and the cause. Invite people to enjoy the best parts of Nikken that suits them best. It could be the product, it could be the business, it could be both. Nikken does the tough stuff. That's the real superstructure. They have warehouses inventory in 12 countries waiting for customers, waiting for us to lead customers to them. And they take care of the shipping, the handling, the warehousing, the operations, all the stuff that small businesses are mired by. Nikken does that all for us en masse. And they reward us with commissions, special offers, incentives, bonuses, recognition, luxury trips. It's a wonderful combination. Thank goodness for technology simplifying life, where you can now build a business part-time on the side as a gig and create potentially a full-time occupation if that's something that you're motivated and inspired to do. And the best part, you don't do it alone. From day one, when you enroll with Nikken, you enroll in someone's organization, part of a team, and they are part of a larger architecture of people. We've got people who have been in Nikken for years, like me, decades even, who have tremendous experience sharing their time and talent with you to help introduce Nikken to other people. So if you've got somebody you'd like to share this with, we've got people who'd like to tell their story on your behalf. And that adds to the credibility, knowledge, know-how from day one. So it's not like you have to sit in a classroom and learn how to do stuff. You just have to do what you do naturally, share what you love, and get the help from the people around you who are willing to help. Now, some of those people are on this call, so I just want to ask if there's a person or two who might share their business story. In fact, I'm going to pull one out of the crowd right now. Let me see. There's Michelle Kowalchuk. Michelle, would you mind jumping on here?
Sure. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. And I'm singling her out because today was an important day of this week, or this past month was an important month for Michelle. She made a decision at the beginning of the month that she was going to rank advance to the position of gold. And lo and behold, welcome Nikken's newest gold consultant, Michelle. It's a nice level of leadership. Michelle Kowalchuk, and you're coming from?
I am coming from Meadow Portage, Manitoba. Way, way out in the boonies.
Okay, well, tell us briefly what do you love about the Nikken business?
The freedom. Oh my goodness, the freedom. The freedom to live my life on my terms, do what I want when I want to do. I love it. I don't have a boss hanging over the back of my neck. I don't have someone telling me, oh, you got to do this and you got to do this and you got to do this. And you can't take your lunch until this time and you can't go to the washroom until you have a break, blah, 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 blah. That to me is freedom when I can let go of that. To be able to travel freely, to go and visit my family who is throughout the US and throughout Canada, to visit with my grandchildren. Anytime I want, they come to the door, knock on my door. And if I've got a meeting booked, you know what? I drop that meeting if I can and spend my time with my kids and my family and my husband. I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Now you were in the professional environment, so this is a contrast, right?
Very much so. They talked about teamwork. They talked about how amazing their team was. They talked about family. When I come down to it, teamwork was great so long as you did as they told you to do. And family was great so long as they didn't interfere in your job. So they had no idea, no concept what teamwork was and how valuable family is. I learned that at Nikken.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. I want to ask Roberto. Robert, you're on the line here. You're making some moves in Nikken. Would you mind sharing? This is Robert. Uh, you say Acosta, but I know you as a Gonzalez. So which one is it?
Acosta is my last name,
Okay.
last name.
Okay. So Robert, tell us a bit about your background and why Nikken. What's the reason for building a Nikken business?
Well, I'm a Mexican Canadian living in Canada now. I was born in Mexico. And the thing that I love of this mission is the impact. How you can do a lot of impact and make an impact to a lot of people by being in a community like this. And someone said just yesterday, help is a good thing you can have. And when you ask for help, you can do marvelous things. And this is one of the essence and DNA of this community. We want to help. And when we help each other, we can have impact. So to be honest, that's the most important thing for me and why I'm here.
And you're now heading up a team in Toronto. I see some of them on the line here. How do you feel about this new emerging group?
Well, it's amazing because we have a strategy. I'm a Latin. I'm from Mexico, and there are about 6 million of Latin Americans in Canada. So we have this strategy to start this business, so start this movement with Latin Americans. So very quickly we're gonna have a footprint in whole America. So and we like people. Latin Americans like to talk. We are talkers. We like to gather, and we like community. And of course, we like food, and we like to be healthy. So it's a very, very good combinations to be in this platform because it's not an additional thing that we do in our lives. It's part of our lives. It's a lifestyle we chose to have.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Right.
Look for big things out of that team. All right, let's continue as we wrap up here. Real quick overview of some of the concepts of the business. I mentioned we've been in business for quite a while, 50 years in the world, starting from Japan, 1975, now going into our 37th year, well, 36 years in Canada, or excuse me, in USA and Canada, North America. And you might say, how come I haven't heard of them? If you guys have been around this long, how come I haven't heard of you? Well, first of all, it's our marketing strategy. It's the way we do business, but it's not like we haven't done anything. In those 35 years, we've actually done pretty good. 2 million people know and use Nikken products in North America, which is about a market penetration of 1.25%. Of course, that's not very much, but it's still 4 billion in revenue, about half of which was paid out in commissions, some to the people on this call for sharing Nikken to the community of people that they're living in and around and that they know. And of the people that have been involved thus far, as you can probably tell just by the profile of people on the call, most of us are baby boomers. I'm the last of the boomers at 61. 87% of the 1.25% or 2 million customers of Nikken are people my age and older. And that makes sense because it's usually at a certain time in life that you start to experience these challenges. And guess what time of life that is? I started when I was fairly young, at the age of 28, 27, turning 28. But most people were in their 30s or 40s. And it's generally speaking around the 30s and 40s that people really start to feel the effects and the need to move into something different, a better way. Gen X represents only 12% and millennials only 1%. You can see the age of these groups. So right now, there is an emphasis for us to transition from an organization of baby boomers towards introducing Nikken to the younger generation, as they're now coming into that age where their levels of productivity are affected by their stress levels, their choices, their options are getting restricted, and they are looking, and trust me, they are looking, and this is the time of the year more than any that they are really starting to evaluate, because another year is gone and nothing has changed. So help us bring Nikken to 5%. Imagine the business that will create, or 15% market penetration. What kind of volume of business? How many people will have been affected? How many lives and how many options for income are available to people that are part of this growth? Well, we do actually have a mandate from Nikken. We now have a growth expectation to 10x Nikken over the next 5 years, launching in January of 2026. So if you want to be a participant in Nikken's next phase of growth, to 10x the company in the next 5 years, you're at the right place at the right time. Definitely ask the person who brought you to this call to share more about that. Well, if you're a wellness seeker, welcome to Nikken. Join us as a customer, purchase some products, and that'll be that simple. You'll stay in touch with Nikken, and you'll get access to your own account and be able to shop at will. And there's some great offers as well during this holiday season. And there's also specials with respect to some of our consumables on our auto ship program. Check that out. If you're a wellness enthusiast, meaning you're somebody who likes to tell people about what you're learning about and share, upgrade that account, your customer account, for $39.95 and be a Nikken consultant, where you can now start participating in the compensation plan. Additionally, there's another position available, and that's not really a position as much as it is an intention. As a wellness entrepreneur, partner with us. Partner with us who are committed to growing and expanding Nikken's expansion into the marketplace, and participate in all the wins that there are. Tomorrow night at this same YouTube channel, or excuse me, this same, we do have a YouTube, by the way. This recording will be live on the YouTube channel. But tomorrow night on the same Zoom link, you can attend Brand Night, and it's also at 8 o'clock Eastern. And that's where we focus on one or more of the products and technology. Here where you'll hear more live testimonials about the efficacy of these products. There is, in fact, a YouTube site, the Royal Alliance YouTube channel. look for Brand Night, the playlist called Brand Night, and you'll see some of the recordings that have happened in the past and learn more about the various products and technologies. It's really good information, excellent for learning and sharing. So if you're looking for more answers to the question of the income option and you really want to talk about what it takes to get this business off the ground, we do have a call that you can ask the person who invited you to be invited Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's an RSVP call and more questions, more personal interaction so you can learn the income option. So you've just learned about empowered living, all the various ways that Nikken can make an impact and help you feel good every day. Know anybody that wants to feel good every day? And if you came to this with the question of how could I improve one or two of my areas, these key areas of life, recall that first question I asked. Can you see it now? Can you see how Nikken could be a possibility for solving that? We hope so. We hope that you enjoy this presentation and join us in our empowered living life. So thanks everyone for being on the call. And we'll see you on the Nikken Highway. Good night, and thank you everyone who shared. Good night.
Good night.